obviously, and you saw an incredible result.
I want to kick it off with an interview that one of their co-captains, Gerard McVeigh, did. And that was back last Thursday. It was picked up by the Herald Sun. Some very strong words, and it was referring to the disappointment of the grand final last year, how it burned on them. We can't wait to get out there from round one and show what we're really all about. We're not going to let that game, as in the poor performance in the grand final, define who we are as players and as a team. Right, so I'm reading this and I'm thinking they are going to come out breathing fire. Yeah. They've had that burning at them all pre-season. They've trained just waiting for a chance at redemption. Well, it fell on deaf ears because let me tell you right now, the Bombers were harder at the pill, they were more determined, they were more committed, and it was a greasy night, no doubt about that, but they had a very good side in the Sydney Swans, fumbling and second-guessing themselves from the word go. And it lasted for 3 quarters.
Oh, it was. They were rattled. They were rattled, Sydney, no doubt about it. And, of course, Essendon come with the weight of the world off their shoulders. They were fantastic. And their starting points at stoppages, they were very physical. They took it up to a Sydney team. Here's Johnny Longmire at quarter time. Didn't he rip into him, Jay?
Well, it didn't work. It did not work because I haven't seen Horse give a spray like that. And you can see he says, it stops now. He's talking about the lack of effort there and how they need to get up and running. He said it about 4 times, it stops now, in no uncertain terms. Well, it didn't, because for the next 2 quarters, they were exactly the same.
I read a Johnny Ralph story about John Longmire, Dark Horse it was titled, saying he believed he didn't need to spray them after the grand final, and he didn't spray them. We didn't wait too long to remind them.
What happened was, and it's only natural when you've got 13 players that were unable to play a NAB challenge game, they were underdone, Essendon, and unfortunately, and it's sad because they deserved something out of this game, they stopped to a walk, and then the last quarter was all Sydney. They dominated, in particular, the contested possession.
So, based on what you saw, where does Essendon finish this year? Are they a top 6 side?
Oh, yeah, I think they nearly are. The problem is going to be the first month, how they get through that. And you look at that, the contested ball numbers, and that is all through fatigue. That's a demolition in 1 quarter, 52 to 33. What Essendon did to try and save the game is, obviously, there's only 2 ways you can get hold of the footy. Either win the contested ball or the ground ball, some people call it, or you take a mark. And for Essendon, the only way they're going to take a mark is load up their defence, try and get an outnumber and take an intercept mark, and then just get the ball and start to chip it around to each other and get your breath back. But Sydney was smart. Essendon would put loose men in their defence, so Sydney would just go around and man them up. At one stage, I think Sydney had an 8 or 9 man forward line, just manning them up. So it was one-on-one all over the field. The guys on the outside for Sydney were just told to run forward, get in there as quick as possible, and fair dinkum, the Essendon boys were like statues. They couldn't move.
If you're stopping a run on, though, do you put blokes back or do you put them at the ball and kill it at the source?
They need to be more at the source. They needed more numbers at the source, but they just had no activity around the source. They were absolutely buggered, weren't they?
Tilly's going to be a good talking point throughout the course of this season. That's Adam Goodes. This is a man that at one stage in time was the best athlete playing the game. He would run relentlessly from end to end. We're going to show you a clip here. Now, bear in mind that he's just had a long sprint going forward where he just kicked it behind, but he looks like he's running in quicksand. Now, in his heyday, of course, we know he's getting on. He would have been leading Hibberd to the ball. He actually gets there because there's a fumble, but the play's gone on. The second and third efforts are gone and he's still there. So I just think they're going to have to be clever the way they manage Adam Goodes because he can't do what he used to. They've got to find the right way to get the most out of him.
And Goodesy's spoken about it. He wants to play most of the games or all the games. Maybe it's 14 or 15 games. I don't know what the number is.
Well, the other talking point is number 6, Tom Mitchell.
Still can't get a game, Jim.
Can't get a game.
Well, I'll tell you what, you've pushed his barrel hard enough. What's going on?
Not sure. We're going to have to find out. That's why we're going to get John Longmire down here for the first time, make his debut on the couch. But coming up, Geelong